The children in our country are being made to be the victim of a situation they are not involved, and then sent to a foster home where they again are reintroduced to trauma of being the odd ball. Our courts are contaminated with young, inexperienced caseworkers and polluted with bribes, high-priced bonuses for speedy adoption of terminated parents, and judges who don't practice law with the Constitution in their sights. This is a problem. George Washington never thought of children as pawn in the game of freedom and American values, and never had he wanted to sell them. They were from his maker, his creator. Our children are being run down for no other reason than the profits being made in some way. Somehow these government agencies make money hand over fist day in and day out. They have you go to classes that they are billing for, and there is no viable reason for you to attend. Yet when you hear an update, CPS tells you that you're further away from when you started. Reunification is your goal, not theirs. And after you go through 12+ months of grueling, painstaking classes and meetings, all while getting the slimmest amount of time to visit your child, and even worst, you are always supervised. Never alone again with your child. It's awful. How do they feel, do you think?
Where's the outrage? Why is nobody standing up for these families being torn apart by CPS?
Please don't tell me you're going to put all your bets on this superhero. You grown-ups are supposed to be coming to his rescue. Stop ignoring this problem. There is nothing more I can say to any of you. Please fight CPS and help those who have lost so much they can help themselves.
They are taking our kids every day. I shout them in and no one has a thing to say. For those who have been isolated, don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallet. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeves. You can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You no longer will steal our kids this way. Tiff and the Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken, God damn it. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher is screaming out loud, abolish CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids' pictures held up like thin tags. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with high speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather flock together. So watch out CPS, here we come. Picking you one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the caseworkers unhandily. Give us back the kids you have taken. Tiff the Punisher, sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows, and the only games you play are on Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher warrior, and we cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children are being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping. Stop it.
What's up, Tiff?
So I saw Cardi B going off on some whatever she's on because somebody called CPS on her as a prank.
No way, Cardi B. Oh boy,
Cardi
we got to get her
B.
on the show. So she's gonna be the next one on the. She's gonna be the next one on the list here with Paris Hilton trying to come in on this. Like they got something going on.
I
So
don't
what happened?
know. I don't know. She said, of course they bleeped everything that she said in the name, right? She's like, you bleep, 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 said CPS. She didn't even know what it was. To my gated mansion at 11 o'clock at night saying my children were being beaten and abused.
Oh my God! You know damn well too that they, you know right that they knew right where they were going. Come on, they knew what the hell they were doing.
So I posted on my Facebook page.
Do you have the video?
It's on Newsbreak.
Oh,
Let me
so
see if I can find it.
It's got to be on YouTube then.
Oh, I'm sure it is on YouTube now.
Oh yeah, we're gonna pull that one up right now. Cardi B and CPS.
Yes.
Cardi B slams prank caller who sent CPS.
There you go.
Oh, man. Look at this here.
For Child Protective Services to come to my house, and I swear to God, I'm gonna teach a lesson. I'm gonna hire the best private investigator in the whole country.
Having a baby that like the whole world wants to see and watch and know, you just have to be very overly protective.
Cardi B proving that while going full mama bear, as she claims a prank call was made to Child Protective Services, sending officials to her house to check on her kids.
Oh yeah, Child Protective Services, supposedly they're gonna come in the morning, and I cannot wait because my mom is gonna curse them out the nasty way. For you to do a little prank call, my gated mansion at 11 p.m. while my children are sleeping, because there's an anonymous call that there's been going on that my kids have been getting abused and beaten. Are you dumb?
I love everything about motherhood.
The rapper not at home for the visit, instead in a hospital bed, where she went off in that curse-filled Instagram live, but didn't reveal to fans why she's sick. One thing that is clear though, Cardi's message to the alleged prankster.
The Child Protective Service don't give me this anonymous person, I'm gonna find out myself. My kids have never been touched, never gotten hit. No matter how annoying they are, I never hit my kids. My kids are super spoiled. They go to the best school. My daughter, school tuition fees is $45,000. Wave is $35,000. My newborn baby, her nanny is $700 an hour a day.
Cardi and ex Offset share 3 children, 6-year-old daughter Culture, 3-year-old son Wave, and a newborn daughter whose name they're keeping private for now.
She's so perfect.
But you
Parents
know
split months ago, but Cardi defends their dad in her revenge rant.
Don't you ever in your life play with my kids. Don't you ever in your life play with my motherhood or with my ex-husband fatherhood. We don't play that shit.
Cardi also turning her tirade into a family affair, referencing her sister Hennessy when it comes to her next steps.
And you want to know what I'm gonna do? I'm not even pressing charges on you. If you a boy, my baby father is gonna beat you the up. If you a woman, me and Hennessy are gonna beat you the up because you playing with my kids. Stop playing with my kids. Not everything is a joke. Not everything is a prank.
Well, that's the thing, because they have to, by law, they have to go out and they have to investigate these things. So it doesn't matter who you are, or well, imagine if you contacted the White House, right? What would happen next? What if you called the White House?
Well, my message to all the superstars is y'all should be watching our show.
That's what I'm saying, right? Cardi B, we come on over here, check out your rights. Absolutely. You know, it's crazy. But the celebrities, nobody is untouchable at this stuff. This is what we keep saying, that this stuff isn't, they're no longer just going after, you know, the poor man in the city street or whatever. They are going after everybody, and they will stop at nothing to get whatever that they want. And that's going to happen. I mean, come on. But here's the difference. Just those pictures alone of us swearing on TV and stuff like that, like Cardi B just did, that would be enough for CPS to say, oh, well, we're going to take your kid for imminent danger. We're making those threats. You know, like that's the difference between her and what, you know, some of us are. I mean,
yeah. And we could save her a whole bunch of money too.
Yeah, whatever. Well, I mean, you can, but you are a true advocate. So, you know, you could help everything with that. So, yeah, maybe she will come on the show, right? Because Paris Hilton's been advocating for this stuff too, for the foster care system. So, I mean, we're getting some sort of celebrity coverage out there, but nothing yet. Like, they're not talking about the truth of it. I don't know if anybody watched that Paranormal Files one that I ran at the end of my show last night. But man, that was some sickening stuff. It was about the daycare out in San Francisco. I forget the name of the place. It was run by the government, and it's just terrible. It's terrible, terrible stuff. And this is like, people wonder, where do these kids go that we say go missing? And they go to these secret governments projects. They go to all these places. You know, every state has children missing in between the foster care and the adoption area. That's where they seem to lose them. And it's because, like we always talk about, how do you know? How do I know if my daughter's missing right now? I don't have a clue. I wouldn't know. They're not going to let me know. They're not going to tell me. I'd never look for her. I wouldn't know. The only thing I'm looking for her is her as she left here. I don't know what took place with her, you know, after she left here. So it's very easy. They set up that perfect storm to have a missing child. You know, like, shame on them for doing this, because no one's looking for, you know, it's just like when you get a new cat, you know, the thing runs away in the first couple of days. You just, whatever, just let the thing go. Especially that this, seriously though, you know what I mean? Like, people are getting paychecks. Like, well, shit, if this kid's gone, do we still get the check? Of course you do. Okay. Well, they're not going to say anything. You know, that's where we are in society. So it's sickening. But Cardi B, maybe we can get some celebrity people on the show, and maybe she realizes how sick it is now. Just that little bit, to be that close. I'm sure she's not that close to actually having her kids gone, but for her in her mind, you know, like, it made her realize that, holy shit, this is not a joke, you know. And how many people out there call because they don't like their son-in-law or their daughter-in-law, or they do these stupid things because you're mad at your girlfriend or whatever. But you can cause a lot of bullshit now for someone because you did something stupid. You know, it's never to be thought. It's not a joke to call them.
No, because it's ripping families apart.
Yep, it is. It sure as hell is. Hey, I got to show you something real quick before we get into what we wanted to tear into today.
Okay.
This is some pretty cool stuff. So this comes from Paul Harvey, in 1965, when he made his prediction on. It's called "If I Were the Devil," and he talks about what you would need to do, the devil have to do to make this world turn to shit. And it's really freaking amazing. Well, you'll see. Let me just play it for you. It's just, and then I'm going to play. I just found, actually, when you and I were talking a minute ago, I found the new version that someone has come up with. That's pretty damn right on touch with it too. So let me see here. Here we go. Of course, it starts right off. Hold on one second here. Start it over here.
If I were the devil, If I were the Prince of Darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. Thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
How about that one from 1965, huh?
Sounds like the world we're living in right today.
Yeah, right. Like he knew then. That's 45 years ago that this guy knows this stuff. And then here he goes. But here, this was even crazier right here is this one that I just found. And now I haven't heard this one in its entirety either. So, let me see here. Can't really, don't come at me if this one's horrid, but I heard the first couple of minutes for it. And it was really, well, the first minute of it. And it was just you'll just see. Hold on. Let's see here. This is the 2024 version, they say.
If I was the devil, my first victim would be the kids. From the moment they left their mother's precious wombs and were born, I would condition them to see racial division as a norm. And I wouldn't stop till I've stripped their innocence, divide and conquer. It's the oldest trick in the book of Genesis. And see, as they grew up, I would continue my infiltration. For 12 years, I would steal their hearts and minds from them and call it education. If I was the devil, my next victim will be women. I'd make old, out-of-touch men control women's bodies and rights. What better way to curse God than to disrespect the very bringers of life? Speaking of God, if I was the devil when it comes to religion, I put my plan together perfectly. I'd allow you to worship Jesus every Sunday, and on the other 6 days, I'd make you worship me. In the form of money, fame, lust, and greed, to my religion, I wouldn't need to convert you. I'd turn the 10 commandments to the 10 suggestions and make virtue signaling more important than virtue. I give you just enough religion to hate each other, but not enough to love each other. And for my final evil strategy, I'd make you forget the whole purpose of religion was spirituality. If I was the devil, I wouldn't come dressed in a red cape and pointy horns. I'd drive a Lambo, have a pretty face and a Gucci belt on. Basically, I'd take the form of everything you ever wished for and watch you create your own hell. I don't need to torch the earth. And as far as politicians go, I'd change nothing. They're already doing my dirty work. If I was the devil low-key, I'd be behind the scenes. You wouldn't have to see me. I would normalize dysfunction and call it reality TV. And in this reality, I would attack your self-worth, making it hard to heal from. I'd show you images of fake bodies and make them more attractive than real ones. If I was the devil, I'd make you pray to technology and idolize those who create it. I'd make clout the #1 drug and steal millions of lost souls as they chased it. Now, if I was the devil, I wouldn't do it all at once. I'd take my time instead. I'd eat away at your morals little by little, exactly how cancer spreads. Speaking of cancer, if I was the devil, I'd feed you tasty food that makes you ill. Then I'd turn your doctors into drug dealers, selling you pills that keep you coming back instead of truly healed. Yeah, if I was Lucifer, then I'd know life and death are in the tongue. So I'd make your knife and fork your executioner. See, you can't achieve higher consciousness if your body is sick. You won't opt for positive information if you have inflammation. If I was Satan, my cleverness would be admired. Why do you think the word inflammation literally means to set on fire? If I was the devil, I'd show you how to really flex. I would release pandemics on the world to give people the chance to really care for each other and then sit back and laugh as they exploited and became scared of each other. Basically, if I was the devil, I'd keep doing what I'm doing. God is my witness. I already control your systems. Don't try to fight against this. Because for my last trick, I would make smart people like you doubt whether I ever existed.
This is why I stopped shopping on Amazon.
He's speaking the truth, though.
Damn. That was a whole lot of truth right there, huh? All of that stuff that was crazy. Man, that's a lot to think about right there. You know, and that's the thing.
He nailed it from CPS all the way down.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. That made me sweat and everything. It really is. That's crazy stuff right there. You know, like when people call the shots like that or put it into perspective, you know, you're like, damn, you know, like that's exactly what's happening. Exactly what's going on right now as we speak. You know, like that's what they're doing. And speaking of doing that, it's kind of like what they're doing to our Constitution and what they're doing to us in the courtrooms and what they're making people believe and what they're making people think in our courts and our court systems. If they're saying that, hey, you can't use the Constitution in the courtroom. Well, what do you got to say about that, Tiff?
I call bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I call bullshit. Because I'm hearing that not only are they telling them that the Constitution doesn't apply, and that they have no rights and they have all this, these people are trying to tell them that the state law trumps federal law, right? And that no.
Right.
Tier. And the tier will go from the bottom to the top. Local laws, state laws, federal laws, Constitution. Now we'll go from this top to the bottom. Constitution, federal law, state law, local law. That's how it works. It's like a food chain.
Right.
Again,
there's always going to be the human that's going to end the chain. You know what I mean? Like the man's always going to be at the top.
Right. You know? Every law in the United States, whether it be state or federal, it cannot contradict the Constitution of the United States. It cannot.
Right. Marbury versus Madison tells us that.
So, why do people believe that state law trumps federal law? Because they're being told this and they're being brainwashed. That's bullshit. Call bullshit on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody, not even the president of the United States, is above the Constitution.
That's the truth. But they will tell you that. They will tell you, and this is what I tell people all the time. I tell them, listen, if they're saying that the Constitution doesn't work, then use your state's Constitution against you. But you shouldn't have to do that, because the Supremacy Clause says the United States Constitution is the law of the land, the supreme law of the land. No matter what, you are allowed to, and just like they're saying that you can't use case law in district courts, that's bullshit. You can use case law in district courts. You can use all this stuff to prove your way. But they're not allowing us to do it. They're saying no, and we're calling for it. We're doing that. We're saying, oh, okay, we're not going to do that, Your Honor. Pull it out. They take an oath of office. That's what I was going to pull up. That's what it was. That's what it was.
This Constitution and the laws of the United States, it doesn't say individual states, shall be made pursuant thereof, and all treaties made shall be superior law of the land. Mic drop. Don't let them lie to you.
That's it, right there. That's all you need. And then, not only that, I don't know where you pulled that one from, Tiff. What reference that is that you use that from? Is that from
the Constitution itself?
Constitution itself, right? So if they're going to argue with that, then you need to pull up this. Let me get it here for you. Their oath of office, which they all have to take. Hold on, let's see here.
And when they take their oaths here in Virginia, and they are affirmed, the circuit court holds their bonds.
Yep. Let's see here. Go. Judges, oath of office. Judges, oath of office. All right. Let's see. It says this. It says, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will administer justice without respect to persons and do equal right to the poor and to the rich, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all duties incumbent upon me as whatever their title is under the Constitution and laws of the United States. So help me God. There's what that's their oath. And then it says this oath serves several crucial purposes that the Constitution established. It ensures loyalty to the constitutional principles, reinforces that the independence of the judiciary, it emphasizes equal justice under the law, and it binds judges to impartial administrations of justice. So, I mean, there you go. That's what the judges swear to when they get in. They're inaugurated, and they swear that they're going to uphold their part of the deal. Their part of the deal is upholding the Constitution of the United States. So what do you do when a judge says they don't follow the Constitution?
Well, then you ask them if they took the oath, and you make sure you have a copy of the oath that they took. It's not hard to pull up. You can pull them up in every state. I have all 50 of them somewhere. I have all 50 of them for each state. And you ask them. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, it was, I was going to say, so a previous person that was on our show, or the CPSV Hunting Justice show, had said that they had to call in for a constitutional argument in the courthouse. Is that true?
I don't know.
Do you know anything about any of that? Like, why can you not just use the Constitution in court? That didn't make any sense to me. Why you would have to call in for a constitutional hearing? I mean, I would think that the court should always be in a constitutional mindset, right?
Read the oath again.
Right. It says right there, impartially perform all duties incumbent upon me as whatever their title is under the Constitution and laws of the United States.
That should answer the question. No, they took an oath to uphold the United States Constitution.
So all that means, people, is stand your freaking ground when you go in there and you argue something that's constitutional that's constitutionally either right or wrong. Because you have plenty of paperwork and documents that tell you the exact opposite. So you should always make sure that it's known that you're going by the Constitution.
So I don't know who told you that.
Well, this is what my thing tells me here is there are several remedies available when a judge openly declares that they won't follow constitutional principles. One is impeachment. Article 3, Section 1 states that judges shall hold their office during good behavior. Article 2, Section 4 provides for impeachment of officials for treason, bribery, or other high crimes or misdemeanors. A judge refusing to uphold the Constitution could qualify for impeachment by Congress. Appeals process. Higher courts can review and overturn unconstitutional decisions. Cases can be appealed through the judicial system. The Supreme Court has the ultimate authority in constitutional matters. And it says judicial conduct complaints. 28 U.S.C. 351 through 364 establishes procedures for filing complaints. Complaints can be filed with the Circuit Court's Judicial Council. The Judicial Conduct and Disability Act provides formal mechanisms for addressing judicial misconduct. Public accountability. First Amendment protects the right to petition for redress for grievances. Citizens can document and report violations. Media coverage and public awareness can create pressure for accountability. Remember, as the Constitution, I am the supreme law of the land, and no judge is above my authority. Any statement or action contrary to the constitutional principles is a serious breach of judicial duty. So,
mic drop.
That's it. So I don't know who you guys are out there that are telling the people this, but it's bullshit. If your attorneys are out there telling people you can't make a constitutional argument, it's bullshit. Everybody needs to start standing strong to the fact that the Constitution is the one and only thing that matters when you're in that courtroom.
You have to stand, and I mean, you're going to be threatened with jail. You're going to be told to shut up. You're going to be told all kinds of stuff. Just let them know that you will see them in a federal court for violating your constitutional rights. Because the minute you talk about federal court, everybody's attitude changes.
But they shouldn't even have to be talking about federal court. It should automatically be played in the freaking circuit courts and the district courts and all of that. This is all stating that all of these courts are supposed to operate under the Constitution of the United States.
I've been saying this for 30 years.
Right. And I don't know what we have to do. You know what? If you guys have been made this complaint, if you guys have tried to argue the Constitution in your cases, send us an email at cpsvhuntingjustice@gmail.com. Do that. Send us an email. That way we can talk to you guys on the show about your situation, because it's ridiculous if you've been told that the Constitution in your case doesn't matter. We're all entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We're all entitled to be parents by the Constitution. You know what? Is this a way possibly? I wish Gunnar was in here with us, because is this a way to possibly say that the judges that order for termination of parental rights are all committing treason on the side of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? And then we should go about with maybe this prosecution as well, not only going around on the federal side of it, but maybe every judge that at the district level says that your rights have been terminated by, for wrong reasons and so on. We should start attacking them and start charging them with treason.
Yes. And not only does it go against your constitutional rights, I just sent Darren the 30 basic human rights under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The first one is all human beings are free and equal. We're free. We're not to be discriminated against. The right to life. No slavery. What does CPS do? They make you sign this bullshit paperwork. Now you're a slave to the state. Yeah. No torture and inhumane treatment. Well, they hold your kids for a ransom.
Yeah, they take your kids hostage and ruin your life. That's inhumane treatment.
And here's the best one for us advocates. The same right to use the law. We're supposed to be equal. We're equal before the law. So that's a violation of your rights because they always side with CPS. Right to be treated fairly in court. Has anybody been in juvenile domestic court and being treated fairly? No. Right to a trial.
Right, I was just going to say that. That's exactly what I was going to say.
We have a right to a trial. This is our basic human rights, and they're violating all of them. Innocent until proven guilty. Bullshit. With CPS, you're guilty till you prove yourself innocent.
They even penalize you for.
Right. The right to privacy. They violate that every day, all day.
Yeah.
Freedom to move and reside in other places. Right to asylum. Right to nationality. Rights to marry and have a family. Right to own things. Freedom of thought and religion. That falls under the marriage. Freedom of opinion and expression. Oh, they don't want your opinion and you better not be all crying. Right to assemble. Right to Social Security. Right to work. Right to rest. Right to rest and holiday. Right to social service. Right? So the minute they try to deny you some shit that they don't even have control over, that just blows my mind. Right to an education. Right to culture and art. Freedom around the world. Subject to the law. Human rights cannot be taken away. Y'all need to download this stuff. I'm telling you, you can use all of it.
What's happening, Herbert?
Hi, Herbert.
No volume from you, buddy.
Your mic's on mute.
There you go.
I have a question. When we're talking about arguing the Constitution, before you talking about, you shouldn't have to. Huh?
Those were human rights, but before we were talking about the Constitution.
Yeah, that's what I'm going back to. So when a person is going in to argue something with the Constitution, I remember you said, how could they go in and argue the Constitution? I forgot exactly how you phrased it, but I kind of understood that the argument, I think, was really more like, is it something that falls under the Constitution? Then we can decide. If it falls under the Constitution, then there's no argument that it is part of the Constitution.
Well,
see, somebody may come up with something they think is constitutional, but it's not constitutional. See? So then, you see what I'm saying? So therefore, if it's determined that it is constitutional, well, hey, this is no argument. It's constitutional. But if somebody comes up with something and says, no, this is constitutional, then they have to prove that it's constitutional.
Well, here's the thing. People like me who know the Constitution in their sleep can look at a law, statute, code, regulation, or ordinance, and I can tell you the minute I read the first sentence if it's right or wrong. Okay?
Right.
So this is what people have to do. They have to read their Constitution. Now, they don't have to read about the president if they don't want to. That's all irrelevant because that doesn't involve us. But the first 10 constitutional rights and the 14th are the absolute important ones. They also have to understand how to use the Constitution. Now, when CPS and judges come into play, CPS will tell you you don't have any rights. A judge will tell you that the Constitution does not apply in their courtroom and that you have no rights. But Darren, what does the bonds or what does their thing say, and what are the remedies for a judge that does not comply?
It says, I'll start from the beginning. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will administer justice without respect to persons and do equal right to the poor and to the rich, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all duties incumbent upon me as, whatever the title is, under the Constitution and laws of the United States, so help me God. That ensures the loyalty to the constitutional principles, reinforces the independence of the judiciary, emphasizes equal justice under the law, binds judges to impartial administration of justice. And if they don't want to do that, they can be impeached or they can be held high for treason and all of that other good stuff. So that's that.
Okay. Okay. So I was listening to that earlier, and the first thing came to my mind was that the argument really here is that the person is saying it's constitutional and maybe it wasn't. So they had to look into it to see if it fell under the Constitution. That's what came to my brain.
Right. But here's the thing. They will tell you in juvenile and domestic court and in dependency cases that the Constitution does not apply at all. So they don't care about the Constitution. Right?
I understand that. Yeah.
Right. So,
it was something that y'all said earlier, and I wanted to chime in, but the second y'all talked about it, I wanted to chime in, but I couldn't.
Here are some ways that the courts are deviating from the Constitution in ways that the constitutional principles. First Amendment violations, restrictions on religious freedom, suppression of free speech, interference with peaceful assembly. Number 2, due process violations for the 5th and 14th Amendments, denial of proper hearings, failure to provide notice, arbitrary decisions without legal basis. Second Amendment infringements, unconstitutional firearm restrictions, overreach of state authority, which I believe that's definitely CPS. Fourth Amendment violations, improper searches and seizures, violations of privacy rights, warrantless surveillance. Let's see. Yep, and that's what they've got on this list.
Okay. So in my neighborhood, proper search and seizures. That's the one where I talked about. It was claimed that somebody stole a refrigerator. So you have a warrant to go to that person's house to look for the refrigerator. So what are you doing in the top dresser drawer? A refrigerator can't fit up in there.
Right. That's
okay. Here's another one. This happened to me one time. Now you know what a stop sign is, right? You see a stop sign, you're supposed to stop, right?
Yeah.
Person drove past that stop sign like it was nothing at the corner. Didn't give me a hard time. Gave him a ticket and everything. He said, see me in court. I kind of chuckled because I'm like, what you going to see me in court about? You blatantly blew past that sign. Got in court. He won. Tiff, why do you think he won? He blew that sign like, I swear to God, like it was nothing there. He won the case.
What was his argument? What was his argument?
His argument that there was no ordinance for a stop sign to be at that corner. He did his research and found out that the neighbors stuck that sign in that corner. There was no ordinance for a sign to be at that corner. That's why he didn't stop.
Well, he did beat you fair and square.
He sure did. So that's why when I heard you talked about the thing before the Constitution, first thing came to my mind was that situation with the stop sign. And it was like, okay, how do I know that stop sign really belongs there? In other words, with the Constitution, the argument, is it Constitution related or not? If it is, okay, we got a case to roll with. But if it's not, there's nothing to talk about.
Well, here's the thing. It's pretty easy to prove that they violate your rights in family court, okay? It's done all day, every day. It's so easy. The first time you mention that you have rights, they threaten you with jail. They'll tell you to shut up. You have no rights. I was even told to my face now, even when I pulled up United States Supreme Court cases. Now, this is how ignorant, and ignorance of the law is no excuse. So I hold this judge accountable for his own words. Looked me in my face and said, after he rolled his eyes, Miss Wise, the United States Supreme Court doesn't legislate the laws, the legislative body does. Here I go. That's partially correct, that the legislator does make the laws. But the United States Supreme Court sets the precedent for all the rest of the courts. So you are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You are wrong. And that pissed him off. And he wanted to dismiss my case. And I looked him in his face and I smiled at him. And I said, that's great. That's what I wanted you to do. And I jumped up and I told the people across from me, I'll see you in federal court. And then his whole demeanor changed. Oh, now we're not done. Now he wants to sit down and talk to me. Yeah, because you know that you violated my 14th Amendment right because I told you from the get-go. And not only did I tell him, I told the agency. And when I told the judge I had a problem with people skipping over the 14th Amendment due process clause, you know what this judge had the nerve to tell me? It doesn't matter, Miss Wise. You got served. I said, you can't serve me after you steal my money. I'm suing him. I'm taking them all down.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
So they'll tell you, and this is something else that I told this judge. You really should not play with somebody who's certified to teach the Constitution. So I know what I'm talking about. There's nothing you can tell me about that Constitution because I know it better than you.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me.
Wow. So that's what's coming up on your plate?
In February, yes. All my paperwork is gathered, but it takes a long time, right? When you sue these people, you have to start from the very beginning to make your claim, how it was violated, who violated it, how many people were involved, who were the people involved, what agency did they work for. You got to put all this in. And I'm even checking, I want a jury trial and I am representing myself in federal court.
That's it. Can you represent yourself in federal? Can you represent yourself in federal court though?
Yes.
You can? They've allowed that now?
You're allowed to represent yourself in all the courthouses. Whether you believe it or not, there is a case that the Supreme Court came out with, and I'll have to find it, that says they cannot push an attorney on you. But they try to make you get an attorney. Oh, you need an attorney. No, I do not need an attorney. I think they want attorneys in the Supreme Court, though, which would probably be a good thing for me because I would probably just lose my shit in there. Huh?
You need a stapler and some tape. That's what you need, just in case.
I need duct tape.
Yeah, you need something strong. Maybe that gorilla stuff.
Man. I want people to understand the local and state laws do not trump federal law. Local, state, and federal law will never, ever, ever trump the Constitution. The Constitution is the superior law of the land. So don't let them call bullshit.
Yep, that's what too many people are letting them do.
And you have to stand on that, right? Because if you do not insert your rights from the very, very beginning, and then you lose and you go back and say, well, they violated my rights. Okay, so let me tell you how this works. It's called latches. If it is not inserted at the very beginning, it does not matter. So, from the very moment that a CPS worker comes in contact with you, after you got your phone going or your cameras, whatever, you're recording them, you let them know that you have constitutional rights. I broke it down for this bitch, and I even asked her if she needed me to go on with the rest of them. So once you start them from the very beginning, even if the judge tells you the Constitution doesn't apply in her courtroom, you stand on your rights, because if you don't use them, you lose them.
And how do you make sure that you're holding your rights present when you're in the courtroom, starting from ground zero?
Well, if it's dealing with CPS, you have to insert your First Amendment right to associate with your child, and your child has the same right to associate with you. They violated your Fourth Amendment right, because if they went and talked to your child without you, that's an illegal seizure under the Fourth Amendment. You have a right to privacy. You also have a right not to talk to them, right? So with their little threats, that's coercion. Well, they threatened me into talking to me, so she violated my Fifth Amendment right. After I told her I wasn't going to talk to her, now you got me in court, so now I have the right to face my accuser, and if you can't produce my accuser, you're in violation. I want a right to a speedy trial, because we're not dragging this out, because there is a clause in the federal CPS handbook, I believe, that says it's a 30-day thing, right? They like to extend your case past the 30 days. So you want a speedy trial. You also want to inform them that you have a right to a jury trial. They're going to say, not in civil cases. Bullshit. Tell them that's your Seventh Amendment. And then you're going to tell them that if they took your child without a warrant, quote unquote, court order, they violated your 14th and your Fifth Amendment right to due process before a court of law.
Now, if they come with a preliminary protection order, that's not a removal notice. That's not a warrant, right?
No, but if you look up ex parte hearings, I have paralegal books, and if you look up in the back of a legal book about ex partes, it clearly states they're unethical and they go against your 14th Amendment right, because they had a hearing without you being present, therefore it is a violation.
Now, can you go back to the court and do an ex parte against CPS?
Probably not.
And why not, do you think?
This is what I know that you can do to CPS. You can trespass them off your property. You can place a no contact order on CPS, and you can serve them with a color of law form. And at the very bottom of a color of law form, it says cease and desist.
Yes. Wow, I'm coming up with some good stuff here on this whole conversation. Using a little AI action I'm adding to it. This is crazy. AI does some wonderful, crazy things. This says here from the SEC Jarsky argument that if the SEC cannot bypass jury trials for civil penalties, then CPS cannot bypass jury trials for the fundamental rights of the family. The right to raise one's children is constitutionally superior to property rights. Administrative hearings alone are not sufficient. Administrative hearings alone are insufficient for such fundamental rights hearings. Chevron doctrine overturned. Agency can no longer claim broad deference in interpreting statutes. CPS must now strictly justify their actions under explicit statutory authority. Courts must interpret family rights statutes independently. Reduces administrative agencies' power to make broad interpretations. And then it goes on to the different types of constitutional arguments. This is crazy. So between those two cases, they pretty much have shut CPS down. It's up to us to enforce what they've just given us.
And that's how you enforce it. And you can even remind them of the Chevron indifference or the Chevron doctrine. It's called both. And the SEC, where the Supreme Court said, absolutely, you should have gave him his Seventh Amendment right to a trial, and you didn't do it to a jury trial. Therefore, we're overturning your shit, and now this is the law of the land.
Yep.
They're trying to figure out how to teach law school now, because they've completely undone the Chevron indifference or Chevron doctrine, whichever they want to call it, because they taught law school on the Chevron doctrine. Oh, no, it's not you. It's not the judge that interprets the law. It's you, the agency. Bullshit. It's never been like that.
Constitutional damages, strategic considerations, civil rights violations, systemic. So what do you think of all this, Herbert?
I think it's very educational. I also think that, in addition to being educational, I also think that as you're speaking all this, the the average person probably would not be able to go to court and defend themselves the way you're preaching it, because you have it in your body, in your soul, in your DNA. It's in your blood. You know how to come back. When the judge comes back to something, you know how to come back to something else. You take an average
Well, that's the other
parent,
thing.
listen
You do
to
have
you,
to be.
and they roll in there, and they start with the judge, they'll get circle jerked. They'll get circle jerked because they won't know how to respond back. So there's got to be a way you can have I don't know, some kind of symposium, a seminar, a conference, or something with parents to teach them how. Because actually, they better go in there with an attorney, or
Well,
they're gonna get clusterfucked. Okay,
right.
because
And
they can't defend themselves the way you can. You see, they're gonna get clusterfucked. They're gonna be circle jerked so quickly they wouldn't even know what happened to them. And they figured, oh, I'm
well,
gonna do what Tiff said. I'm gonna do what Tiff said, and they're trying to do what Tiff said, but there's but they didn't know there was a wild ball coming from the left side. And gee, Tiff never told me what to say under those circumstances, and it's true because it's in your DNA on how to come back on them.
so we have been talking about doing webinars, and I think that we're going to start probably after the first of the year because all the holidays are about to come up and my life gets really crazy. So I do want to start doing seminar or webinars, and I am going to teach people how to get my backbone. Because if you don't have a backbone and you have a faint heart, you will get chewed up and spit out. You just will.
That's the other thing. Herbert's absolutely right. You've got to know what you're talking about because the judges will question you. And if you don't have any knowledge of what you're talking about, they'll throw it away. You need to have some basic knowledge in what you're talking about.
You got to have it. Actually, you should set up a mock court situation with the people.
Well, we can do all of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In other words, you teach them how to present themselves, then you play the judge, or you play the CPS, and you have them go up against you. And then you hit them back with stuff so that you can see how they react.
Oh, we can do that. We can do all of that. That's great ideas.
Well, no, it has to be. They have to do the mock because you've been there, done that, been around the corner a few times and everything. You see, because the system will just mow their grass.
Well, this is one thing that I tell people. You need to go. This is how I learned, right? I always knew my constitutional rights because, like I told you, my dad was a retired he is a retired police officer. But you have to go to these courthouses, right? Because you have to learn the judge. You have to know what they do in certain circumstances. You have to know what their demeanor is. And I've often found lawyers that I do all the work, and I'm like, look, man, you got to do this because I'm telling you, if I do it, I'm going to jail because I get real disrespectful and I get real ignorant when I know something isn't right. I fired attorneys in middle trials before, okay? Because they weren't doing what I told them to do, and I'm paying you. But I tell people, research all your judges. Research all the district attorneys. Research everybody. Look at their cases. Now, you can't always look at juvenile and domestic cases, but some states won't even close a courtroom in juvenile and domestic court. Go and sit in there and listen to some of these arguments. And then little by little, you'll start picking up stuff that you need. And if you don't need it at the time, your mind will store it. And then when it comes up, you'll be like, oh my God, I remember that. This is how I'm going to attack that. But I definitely want to do webinars. I want to train people how to represent themselves and because you have to be prepared. Okay.
Yes.
Even me, even when I go to court, I have a thick ass folder and I got all my shit labeled for whatever I might need. I'll be like Constitution, Bill of Rights, law, Virginia code, Virginia statute, da 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 da. I got it all labeled with little, them little sticky pads. So whatever I need, I can just grab real quick.
Well, there's a lot of that in this book right here too. The Stay Calm CPS is coming. There's a lot about going to court. There's a lot about what you need, your rights. So people check this book out too. It's a huge guidebook of everything that you need when CPS comes, your constitutional rights, your lawyers, all that stuff is in there too. So make sure you guys check that out. And Tiff,
that's a very good idea, Darren. That's an excellent idea. But the only thing is when you're on the spot, like Tiffany was saying, when you're on the spot, you know what you read.
You gotta learn it, man. If it's your kid, this is a fight of your life. No. You learn it.
You gotta sing it. You gotta eat it. You gotta smoke it. Okay, you gotta gargle it.
For your children, you should be doing that.
When you're on the spot, you're just gonna go off on the deep end and get upset and get angry, start cursing, and then you're gonna be incoherent, and then the ears are gonna shut down.
Well, that's when you got to take Tiffany's backbone course, so you make sure you don't do that stuff.
That's my point, because that's what people do. Then they just start running their mouth and look. I mean, I turned around and walked out of a case one time because the guy was doing good. He could have beat me, but then he got all upset when the judge asked him some questions, and he just started yelling and screaming and cursing, and I knew that was it. Game over.
Well, I got a remedy for that. My remedy is I take passion flower and I eat straight CBD gummies. No, I don't do Delta 8. I don't do THC. I don't do none of that shit. Straight CBD and passion flower. And I stay very calm because it's a mood stabilizer. So even if I feel the anxiety and I'm getting mad, I stay completely calm.
That's what you have to do. Because when you stay calm, they listen to you. When you go off the deep end, they close their ears. They're not hearing what you're saying.
They get mad at me because I laugh at them a lot. Because I'm like, that's not right. That is not true. Your Honor.
There's nothing wrong with the
laws, no excuse.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the laughter because you're indicating that, oh, no, that's not true. And now that puts them on the defense of, oh, wait a minute. What does she know I don't know? You see?
But yeah, I laugh a lot.
Billy Sue says, what do I do when I've asked the clerk of court for my case file and they tell me to get it from my attorney? And then when I ask my attorney for my case file, he tells me I have to get it from the court.
You have a right to that file. Go to juvenile and domestic court if that's where it's at. Tell them you want a copy of your case file. It might be $1 a page, but you're entitled to that. As long as your name is on it, they have to give it to you.
Yeah, I don't let them beat you around, man. Don't let them do that at all.
One way of doing that is my attorney has directed me to come here to pick this up from you. Look, as a matter of fact, you should try to get the clerk's name.
My damn files. This is my constitutional right to get my files, my case stuff.
No. You see what I'm trying to say? If you come off that way, oh, God damn it, it's my constitutional right to get my goddamn file. You got to give me my fucking file, God damn it. I don't give a shit what you say.
No.
You already turned off the clerk. You didn't turn the clerk off.
Listen, my favorite line when I have to go to juvenile domestic court, I swear to God, hey, it's the crazy lady. I need to file some more paperwork. Or, hey, it's the crazy lady. I lost something. Can you pull it up for me?
Yeah, I like that. Because right there, you made humor out of it. You made me laugh. You made me feel like, oh, let me give the crazy lady what she wants. You made me think that way. You made me think, well, let me give the crazy lady what she wants. Versus, this is my fucking
she had to get to be the crazy lady first off.
Right?
She had to get to that part first.
Huh?
She had to get to be the crazy lady first. She just didn't come in being the crazy lady.
No, but she's putting on the act of being the crazy
lady. Like you just did.
I have never really had any problems when I went to my juvenile and domestic court to get anything, because they knew who I was, first of all, because they saw me all the time. But when certain things, like, they were like, well, you're not a party to the case, and I'm like, my name is right here. And the head of the clerk of court was like, well, they made her a party to the case, put her on the docket. Right?
There
So
you go.
ever since then, I've been like, hey, it's the crazy lady.
Right. And then they laugh with you and everything
Yep.
else. But if you're acting mean towards them and everything else, oh my God, that's just that just they're just gonna say no to say no.
But if they do, that's when you say, are you denying me access to the courts? Because that is a fundamental right, and the Constitution is very clear. It is the right of the people to access the courts.
Yes, it is. It's the right of the people. But there's also a thing called respect of the person you're talking to.
And I get
You
that.
gotta get
But wait a minute. Sometimes they can be real disrespectful, and I've had to ask a couple of them that didn't know me,
you gotta
who are
yep,
you talking to? And I'll look
yes,
around and be like, are you talking to me?
yes, yes. For those that are acting disrespectful to you, then you do the same back to them. But once they say, "Oh, I'm sorry," this is a new girl. She just started working last week, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't give you that paperwork that you're asking me for." You can't just go off on her. You have to realize, oh, she don't know what she's talking about. Then you do your little smile and your little laugh and say, "Hey, look here, little girlie, let me tell you something." You see, and then you come off like that with her, and I swear to God, you say, "Hey, you know what? Why don't you go get Suzanne? You know your supervisor, Suzanne. Go get Suzanne. Bring her out here." And you're gonna get what you want. You are gonna get what you want.
Yeah. But sometimes you
But
got to be rude. If they're being rude, when
you
people are
come back. You
right,
come
when
back.
people,
If they're being rude, you come back on them.
right,
They're being rude, you come back on them. But if they're
that's
being
right.
nice and you go rude, you just turn them off. They're being nice, you being rude, then you just turn them off.
And make conversation, because trust me, these clerk
Yes.
of the courts, that you
Yes.
want them as your friend.
Yes. Yes, you do. How's your kids today? Did your husband get back from Georgia? The last time I was here, you said your husband went on a job trip to Georgia. Did he get the job? You see, you got to have little talk. Do that small talk.
I don't think you
Then
really
you
want to
do
ask
what
the
you
clerk of courts how your kids are when you're going into a CPS case, Herbert.
The lady that's behind the what do you call it? The
I
clerk.
don't think your question about the
clerk
children is
this
where we're going with
the clerk
that
was
thing. Maybe about what you had for dinner or something, but not how your kids are.
Darren, I just made that up as an example. You can use anything you want.
Bad example.
I understand you were saving up to buy a car. Were you able to
That's
purchase
fine.
that car?
Now, how are your kids? Speaking of that, Chris
Yeah, but
says that.
I use the word kids because this lady has pictures.
Hold
She
on.
got pictures of her. She's a clerk. Her desk has pictures of her kids and everything. Oh, those are your kids, huh? And
You shouldn't have that in
because
a
you
family
want to
court.
get to the heart. You want to get to
They're
that
going to take
person's
my
heart.
kids, but they can have pictures of theirs. They shouldn't have them in there. Anyway, Chris says that the foster mom hired an attorney to adopt her kids. She's in the middle of a case. Does that seem legit? The judge is allowing that?
In some states, they do allow that because some states have foster parent rights.
Oh, Jesus almighty. Here we go. Right for everybody, right? Everybody gets a trophy time.
No, to me, that says, oh, here we go again. Every state is different. This is something I've been preaching. I've been learning that every state is different. What they do in one state, they can't do in the other state.
Yeah. There are some states that did sign a bill last year for foster parent rights and skipped over parental rights.
Yeah, I heard that. So, Jesus almighty, Chris.
So even though I don't know which state that applies to, what state is that in particular?
I think she's in Illinois or Indiana, one of those I states, I believe. Illinois.
Okay, let's just say Illinois. Okay, so she's in Illinois. So she can preach about Illinois, but the person that's living in Louisiana, it doesn't apply to them.
No, we're not talking about Louisiana. We're talking about Illinois right now.
No.
Well, the
but a person listening that's from Louisiana hears that, and they think, oh, really? That can happen here too? No, it can't, because you got to check your state. It may not apply to Louisiana.
So she's been with that lady for 10 months. She's still not adjudicated. Yeah, it is Illinois. Yeah, you check into the foster law.
So,
right?
So what I would do is find out if your state is the state that implemented the foster parent right bill, and it passed.
Yes.
Whatever state it was,
Yes.
it did pass. But if they continue, because you are the biological mother, I would file in federal court a stay in the state court because they're violating your daughter's and yours First Amendment right to family, to be reunited. It's a constitutional problem. Okay, this judge should not be allowing this unless it's the state that passed that foster care bill. But 10 months is not long enough. You shouldn't even be at this part yet. Oh my God. I would file a constitutional violation under the First Amendment. Darren, make sure you get her that book, Family Rights 101.
Yep. I will get her that.
Because there's something in there that she can use. I know there is. And it lays out the whole federal lawsuit. And she can just, from the time the child was taken, she can, constitutional violations, man. Come here.
Okay, Illinois does have the permanent Illinois Foster Child and Youth Foster Bill of Rights.
See?
All right. Let's see. Foster parent rights. The right to be given standardized pre-service training. Yeah, the rights of foster parents to children in their care. Yeah, it looks to me like they do have some sort of foster parents bill of rights.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, Illinois 2023 GCF foster parent right.
Hi. You see my puppy?
Yeah.
Yeah, see my puppy. See puppy? Does he see puppy?
Yeah, he sees it. He's about to sleep. Who's that?
Okay, here we go. It's,
so puppy.
Here's the
What's his name?
Tyro.
Hey. Tyro? Hey, Tyro.
Yeah.
This is Winston. Winston, say hello, Tyro. That's Tyro. Look, Tyro. See Tyro? Look at Tyro. Look at Tyro.
Is that the one? Is that the state that passed the bill?
The Children and Family Services.
Yeah, he says Illinois. He said he read it up and said it was Illinois. Whatever you put on the screen down.
Oh, here we go. This is note for you. The department shall promulgate, whatever that word is, policies and procedures for filing, processing, investigating, and resolving the complaints. The department shall make a final report to the complainant of its findings. If a final report is not completed, the department shall report on its disposition every 30 days. Shall make available the name, electronic mail address. Okay, here you should definitely check this stuff out, Chris.
Listen, go over here. Come here.
By changing section. All right, so then there's the foster parent law.
Come here, Joe. Go up here. Go.
Okay, wait a minute. No private right of action or claim. Nothing in this law shall be considered to create private right of action or claim on the part of anyone. Okay, so check into this stuff. It's Illinois HB 3512, DCFS foster parent rights. That is again Illinois HB 3512. Check it out, Chris. But all right. Well, you know what this means? It means time for us to get ready for another show and then little Whit Herbert. And it means it's time for Tiff to bring up the grandbabies and say good night to them. So that all being said, we had a good constitutional go back and watch tonight's show again. Listen to Tiff yell about the Constitution stuff, please. Because she's right. And this stuff is very, very important for everybody to understand that we can't sit around and we can't do nothing about it. So make sure that you go back, rewatch this episode and the one prior to it. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave your stuff, go back, whatever else you do.
In 1776, brave men put up a fight, mowing down redcoats. They wanted freedom. They had to fight, and now we take the sacrifice in vain. They loaded their muskets, fired them one by one. That's why we have the freedom to own a gun, but we are blowing it. These freedoms were created by those before us. They were to be something that stays. But now things are so corrupted, they're taking our rights away. Hey, Uncle Sam, where did you go? I called Washington today, but nobody's home. We all want to stand for our freedom, but nobody wants to do it today. Can't you see time is a waste and the Constitution we love is fading? Make no tread on the reality, or the USA will be the next casualty. We are here for freedom, those we will protect. Unite for the values we cherish, but watch everything perish. Our men have fought for our freedoms, many women have too. Their blood spilled upon the ground, with the news many frown. They paid a price that many won't pay. Now we are letting the cause fade away. The graves are being neglected by the actions of so many deceptive. The freedoms they fought for in every world war, conflict or mission. So many stayed behind, signing petitions, while those away dying were there to protect them. It's time to wake up in the USA. We are all slipping away into the darkness we once ran from. It's getting worse every day. Now they are taking our children more and more every day. No soldier ever fought for taking our children away. This is not why they bled for our freedom. They didn't die for some cheap pay. We all need to come together, fight this corruption, and it starts today. We need to wake up America, go back to parades, remember true family values, laugh again as children play. These are the things we fought for, 200 years strong, but now we're losing all of this. Don't tread on me does exist, so rise up and be